Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Complete Sports Media's podcast. I'm your host, Darren Campbell. And of course, joining me today is Jason Cameron. We're going to do a nice wrap up of the weekend of sports. It's the off season for a few of the sports, but all of a sudden we hit Canada Day long weekend and we've got free agent frenzy going on. And the first day of the NBA free agency frenzy, over $1 billion was spent. And on Saturday, Canada Day, the NHL free agent doors kicked back open, and they spent over $500 million in the NHL. And there are just so many deals coming fast and furious. I just keep getting alerts on my Twitter and just checking, and just holy cow. I started sending them to Jason because I was like, have you seen this stuff going on? Oh my God. And I saw you reply, thank God these guys are finally getting paid. This is great.
Yeah. No, it's awesome to see them get paid. It's a good thing. It's a good thing because them getting paid also tells you where the league is at.
Yeah.
And it's in a very, very good place, clearly.
Amazing place. Yeah, the money is just so lucrative. The TV deals have just skyrocketed and just helped this league flourish. It's incredible seeing guys making 40, 50 million dollars a year. And the minimum salary, I think, is $2.7 million now. That's the minimum a guy can make to be on a roster. That's incredible. To be the 15th man, you'll never see the floor, but you're still getting almost $3 million. And some of these supermax deals we've seen teams hand out. And the biggest winner, the guy that got the max deal that he could have got on Friday, was Fred VanVleet. And this guy goes from undrafted player to bench warmer to getting a chance, winning a title with the Raptors, finally taking over when Kyle Lowry's gone. And he goes from making a very small amount of money in his early first couple of years to cashing in big. He's making $43 million a year now over the next 3 years. Incredible. So great to see such a good guy, and a guy that's was written off by so many teams, and go in and be able to work his heart out and be able to cash in this big. This was incredible to see. Sad to see him leave the Raptors, but great to see him get his money.
Yeah, it is sad to see him leave the Raptors, but he earned that, man. He earned all that money, and I couldn't be happier for him. So his new home's in Houston, and I would imagine his house is going to be quite big. It's going to be a big old house. He's getting himself a big old house over there.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that was probably the biggest news of the day that hit that free agency day. But the deals just kept coming and coming and coming and coming. And it's so funny how the NBA acts like, okay, they're not allowed to talk until this time on Friday. And all of a sudden, a deal's done in a minute, and another deal's done in 2 minutes, and 5, 10, 15. We're just seeing deals flying across the table. Obviously, Fred's agency and the Houston Rockets were coming together. I heard Toronto came fairly close to offering him about $100 million for a 3-year deal. That was what I've heard today. The rumor mill was going on. They were even maybe going to give him a 4th-year deal, but it would only be for, actually, sorry, I heard 3 years at about 90 million, somewhere in that range, and 4 years at about 100 million. And that would be an option for the team in the 4th year. But when Houston just hands over that kind of money, you can't blame a guy for leaving for another 30-40 million dollars on a 3-year deal.
No, that was yeah, he had to leave. You had to take that money, right? Because first off, Houston just outspent Toronto. They said, we really want this guy, so we're just going to crush you with the money that we have, because they had a ton of extra money that they could spend. Yeah. And I firmly believe they spent it well on Fred VanVleet.
They've made some very interesting deals as well as Fred. They signed Jack Langdale to a 4-year, $32 million deal. Dylan Brooks to a 4-year, $80 million deal. And Uncle Jeffy, Jeff Green, gets a 1-year, $6 million deal. Great moves. They go from just being this kind of daycare, kindergarten type of team where it's just all young guys and really no veteran leadership, no guys there that can really keep this group together. Had a horrible year, but you could see they had assembled draft picks. They had assembled a young core, and then you thought they were going to try to build around it. I didn't think they were going this quick, this fast towards it, but this actually makes them, to me, an interesting team that might be able to play for the play-in this year.
Yeah, it does. It makes them definitely more interesting. But I think the main focus for their spending for this year was to get some adults in the room, because you had a bunch of sorry to say, but you had a bunch of kids there. All right, you had a bunch of kids, and I think they need that veteran leadership, which they have not had whatsoever.
No.
So I think this is going to be great for the young guys on the team. I think it's going to be great so that they can see exactly how to conduct yourself as a professional, how to get your work in, how to how to do all of those things that you need to do as a professional basketball player, and how to do it right.
Yeah.
Because definitely you have now examples of guys that can do it right, with Jeff Green and Fred VanVleet.
Yeah. During Denver's run this year, I saw Jeff Green pulling aside a lot of the guys and impacting his wisdom as they, made their title run. I saw him talking to Aaron Gordon quite a bit, saying, hey, I saw you on that pick and roll and that screen. You weren't, supposed to go this way. You were supposed to hold and then wait and go that way. And he was really such a key guy. Didn't see the floor too much in some of the crucial games, but I think so many NBA teams are starting to realize how important a guy like that can be to help these guys be a cohesive unit, come together, learn the game, and be proper professionals. We saw it with Udonis Haslem with Miami, and we see it with Jeff Green. So $6 million sounds like a lot to the regular person, but not very much in the grand scheme of things. Very smart move for Houston.
Yeah, not in the grand scheme of things, and it's money well spent, because Jeff Green has a lot of respect throughout the league, and guys are going to listen to him because he's got a tremendous amount of wisdom and a tremendous amount of time that he spent in the league. So, yeah, I think it's a great pickup for Houston.
Okay, I kind of think that this is the way I would like to break it down. It's kind of hard with 30 teams and trying to figure out and talk about all the deals, but I kind of think I'm going to start with the Eastern Conference, and I'm going to go from the standings that they had last year, going from the regular season standings. We'll start with the Milwaukee Bucks, who were the top team in the regular season last year. They had some very big guys on their team that had to hit free agency, and they had some very big decisions to make. Were they going to re-sign them? Were they going to let them walk? And they would have a lot of money to try to get other guys elsewhere. They decided to sign those guys, keep them in-house. Chris Middleton gets a really massive deal, and Brook Lopez, another huge deal. I thought Brook Lopez, that deal had to be made. I thought it was more important than Middleton. I thought it was the most important piece. But in terms of money, Chris Middleton, 3 years, 102. Brook Lopez, 4 years, $80 million. Keeping that really, really good front court together, along with Giannis, super important and very, very key to giving them that chance to be at the top of the league and contending for a title again.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely agree with that. And I want to say I thought personally that Chris Middleton actually helped the Bucks out by taking less.
Yeah.
I honestly did, because I thought Middleton could have commanded at least on the open market $30 million a year.
Right.
And he took less so that they could keep the cohesiveness of their team. So then for me, I thought he sacrificed for that because he sees a winner with the Bucks, and he knows that if he takes less, then they'll have money to sign a Brook Lopez, which is what they did. So I thought that was a great move on Chris Middleton's part.
Yeah, Middleton was hurt last year. Wasn't very impactful when he did get some time back from his injury, and I think it depressed maybe his potential earning going out there because he wasn't coming in fresh off a 27 point a game, 10 rebounds season or something like that. But anyway, yeah, you're probably right. If he would have searched around and really called every team, he might have got that 30 million a year and been sort of out of the market for Milwaukee. Milwaukee also kept Jay Crowder in house. Nice to be able to get him. And then the news came down today that Brook Lopez is going to be reunited with his brother. Robin Lopez has signed. And so that'll be great. They played together a few seasons ago, and then Robin went on to a few teams around the league. But great move for them to reunite the Spanish brothers. I'm sure Brook was super appreciative of that as well.
No, that's actually great news for the Lopez brothers. As again, with Robin there now, you get another defensive stalwart for sure, right? Mm-hmm. And he just does make their team better. Makes their team better for sure.
They also made a signing of Malik Beasley. He signed there for the minimum $2.7 million for 1 year deal. He had the most 3-point shots off the bench in the entire NBA this year with the Lakers. And the Lakers had put a lot of different pieces together, and Malik was not in their plans for some reason. And I think this was a really smart pickup for the Bucks as well.
Yeah, that's actually a sneaky good pickup. And they got him for a song. I'm pretty sure he could have gone somewhere else and got paid a lot more.
Yeah, I was shocked. I was really shocked, but I think he sees the potential there to win a championship. And it wasn't in the Lakers' plan. So with Mike Budenholzer gone, Adrian Griffin takes over, the longtime Raptors assistant coach. Milwaukee, to me, remains the team to beat. They got beat by Miami, and obviously injuries reared their ugly head with Giannis missing 2 and almost 3 games in that series. Middleton not being up to snuff as far as injury wise. And, but I think this keeps them really as one of those teams that you have to say is the top 2 or 3 team in the East and should contend for a title again.
Yeah, because they were able to keep their key pieces. They've added to what they already have for their roster. So, yes, definitely, I believe they're still top 2, 3 in the East, still maintain that position.
The other biggest news that came down yesterday was Damian Lillard has asked to be traded by the Portland Trail Blazers. Obviously, that seems to have been just taking over the NBA media and all the talk now. The team that's second in the Eastern Conference has been rumored to be in the mix to try to get Damian Lillard. Boston Celtics are in the mix. One of the reasons why I started to hear that Boston's in the mix is because there was immediate rumors that he was going to go to Miami or Philadelphia. And those are 2 of the rivals of Boston, 2 of the teams that, they have to face going forward, in playoffs and stuff. And it might be smart for teams like Boston to see if they can pull him out of there and not have to go to one of your competitors. Do you see Boston being able to or wanting to make a deal here with Damian Lillard and for Damian Lillard and the Portland Trail Blazers?
I think it would be kind of hard for the Celtics because of what they'd have to give up to get him, right? I think it would be kind of hard to do that trade because of what they'd have to give up. Because I think what they have right now, they got a great core, they got a great nucleus. Yeah. But for me, if I'm Portland, I would want something back just as good. So I'm looking at Jaylen Brown or 2 of their key pieces that are there now. Yeah, that have to come back for Damian Lillard. And I don't know if that's a play that they should do. Now, what I think Boston is actually doing is that they're getting into the mix so that they up the price for anybody else that's trying to get him. Yeah, I think that's actually what they're doing.
That's smart. Yeah, that's very smart. I couldn't see any type of package going from Boston to Portland that didn't involve Jaylen Brown. The unfortunate part is he only has 1 year left on his deal, and uh, if he could, if they could work out a deal before the trade was consummated, yes.
Yeah.
But if not, there's no way you give away Lillard for a 1 year and then maybe not after that. And if he does sign that super max deal with Boston that they've been talking about for months, he's ineligible to be traded for a year there. So it would have to be some kind of sign and trade thing that worked, and it gets a little messy. But yeah, you're right there. It's going to be difficult to make that move. Boston did make a few moves. They signed a couple Canadians, which is nice. So a lot of the fans up north here will suddenly be cheering Celtics a little bit, because they've got some Canadians. O'Shea Brissett signed a 2-year deal, and Delano Banton from the Raptors signed a 2-year deal there. So those are some key bench pieces. But the big deal was getting Kristaps Porzingis, sending away Marcus Smart, and making this 3-team deal. They signed Kristaps to a deal today, 2 years at $60 million. He's extended through 25-26 now. And was this, do you think this was the key piece that they needed to make a better title run than they did last year?
They needed a change. All right. I think that they needed a change. And this is a pretty big change, because Kristaps just gives you a different dimension to your offense that you didn't have before.
Right.
And now you got like a guy that can stretch out the floor and do like the pick and pop off of the pick and roll, and then just go out for the 3, hit the 3, and all that sort of stuff. So he gives you a different dimension for your offense. And also too, I think Marcus Smart, I think they needed to move off of him because of his voice in the locker room. He's got such a big voice, and I think they wanted to go in a direction where they wanted Tatum and Brown to be more of a forceful voice in that locker room. And Marcus Smart, I don't think he intentionally did it, but he doesn't allow you to do that because of just how he is and who he is. So right. I think that's what they needed, that difference.
Okay, Philadelphia 76ers were the 3rd team in the Eastern Conference in the regular season last year. Haven't made much deals so far in free agency. We're able to pick up Pat Beverly in a 1-year deal. He's a good piece, and he can contribute quite a bit to any team he's on, but very silent in many other areas. They lost Jalen McDaniels. I think that was a bad move, because they had acquired him by getting rid of Matisse Thybulle and a couple draft picks, and now they lose him. He only played with them for 24 games, and then boom, he was done. They didn't really utilize him very well in the playoffs as well, which really shocked me. And maybe that was another reason why Doc Rivers was sent packing. But this was a tough loss for them, and I don't understand it. The other thing is, James Harden opted into his $35.6 million contract, and that everybody assumes that means he's done in Philly, and they're going to work out a deal for him. Do you think that James Harden has played his last game in a Sixers uniform?
Yeah, that's what it sounds like, because everything is leading up to he opted in so he could be traded. Now, the thing is, who got sick of who first? That's my question. Like, did he opt in because he was promised something from the organization, he didn't get it? Like, I don't get it from his standpoint, because Philadelphia 76ers are one of the best teams in the East.
Yeah.
And you won out.
Strange. Yeah.
And I just always found it odd and strange. I still do, because I don't get where his head is at. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. So,
well, it's hard to ever know what's going on in his head. That guy is one of the toughest guys to figure out. He just keeps opting out of situations where you think, okay, it seems like it's pretty good here, and then boom, he's gone. He keeps moving on and on and on, never seems to be happy. And yeah, I don't know. If he wants to win a championship, that's his place. It's very rare for a guy that's won an MVP, won a scoring title, won an assist title like he won last year, and to be this flighty, jumping around so many different teams and never really seeming to get a fit. I don't know what's in his head and what's going to happen, but Philadelphia, do you think they're in the mix for the Damian Lillard trade move? Are they? Do you think they could pull together a package and bring him in?
Yeah, it would have to involve James Harden. Yeah. They could do that. It would have to involve James Harden. For me personally, I think that could definitely work for Damian Lillard because they'd have enough defense around him. You have the league MVP on your team, and you got a guy that's a dead-eye shooter with Damian Lillard that can drop 50 to 60 points on any given night. And I think that's a really good match. Yeah. I think it's a really good match. But again, the trade would have to involve James Harden for that to happen.
Sure. Yeah. It's very weird to say this, but Cleveland Cavaliers were 4th in the Eastern Conference last year. Hard to even remember that they were that decent and that good, but that's where they ended up the regular season. They've made a few moves. Obviously, I think the biggest move to me was Karis LeVert, getting him back. I think he's super key. He just signed a very minimal deal, really, in a lot of ways, 2 years, $32 million. But they were able to enter and splash into the free agency market and pull out Max Strus. 4 years, $63 million deal. Strus did great, this past year, had moments in that run for Miami, but I don't know. I think he's undersized as a small forward, and I think they're going to regret this deal as it expires, as it goes on a little further. I think he was in a very ideal situation in Miami, and I don't know if this really has the same type of impact in Cleveland.
But what Cleveland was missing was they were missing shooting. They were missing reliable shooting, and Max Strus will give you that. If there is one thing he can do, he will give you that, and he will give you defense. He will give you effort on the defensive end. So I think they were looking at that saying, we need a reliable shooter out there on the corners that we can do a kick out and the guy's going to hit the shot. And I think Max Strus actually gives you that. So I thought it was a good pickup on their part for the Cavs.
Okay. 2 other deals for them. George Niang, bringing him in on a 3-year, $26 million deal, and a small deal with Ty Jerome, 2 years, $5 million. Niang's a good piece, and I think that was a smart move by them.
Great move again, and again, gives you reliable shooting. Definitely gives you reliable shooting. And Tyler Jerome was coming in from Golden State Warriors, right?
Yeah.
I love that guy. Yeah. I think he's a great young talent, great player, very savvy, very smart, got high basketball IQ. I think that was a really good pickup for the Cavs.
Well, speaking of the Golden State Warriors and losing a guard, Dante DiVincenzo goes to the New York Knicks, who finished 5th overall in the regular season last year. Dante gets 4 years at $50 million. He was a pretty key piece with Golden State, but Golden State has that core, and Steve Kerr really, protects those guys, doesn't play his bench, as much as others. And I guess Dante was a little rich for their blood, weren't able to bring him back. This is a great deal for him. And do you think it's a great deal for the Knicks?
I think it's a great deal for the Knicks. Great pickup at a very, very good price. Definitely makes their team better. Got great defense at point of attack. Good signing. I really like that signing for the Knicks.
Okay, the other New York team, Brooklyn Nets, ended up doing a big deal with Cam Johnson, a 4 years, $108 million deal. A lot of people were pretty shocked at the number that he commanded there. What do you think about this deal for Brooklyn?
I like Cam Johnson. I think he does a little bit of everything, especially with his shooting. I think they gave him that much money because I think they want to feature him more on offense. And I don't think that's a bad idea. I think that's a great idea. I've always thought to myself when he was on the Suns that he could actually do more.
Yeah.
But since they had all the other stars around him, that he wasn't allowed to. But I think now that he has this deal, now he has his opportunity to do more and show more.
Yeah, acquired in that Kevin Durant deal, along with Mikal Bridges and other pieces. Yeah, I think this Brooklyn team is going to be fun to watch, and they've got a lot of young pieces to get them decent. And they're a couple years away, but yeah, I think bringing him back was smart. They had a couple of smaller deals. They signed Dennis Smith Jr. to a 1-year deal, and Lonnie Walker out of the Lakers to a 1-year deal as well. They had to free up some cap space for Cam Johnson, so they had to trade Joe Harris away to Detroit for a couple second rounders, and that's a tough loss, just to have to clear that off the books.
Yeah, that is a tough loss because Joe Harris had his shooting struggles last year, but traditionally is a knockdown shooter.
Yeah,
great shooter. So that's unfortunate that they had to lose him, but it makes sense in this new CBA world that they live in.
Atlanta was number 7, haven't really made any deals yet. So let's go to Miami, who actually finished 8th in the conference. I'm sure, some of you remember that, but others 8th in the conference, made the final last year, went on that incredible run. They've made a bunch of deals here. They lost Max Strus, who we just mentioned. They lost Gabe Vincent. That was a tough loss for them. And so they've had to try to bring in some other pieces. They also traded Victor Oladipo away to OKC for some future considerations. So they re-signed Kevin Love. They brought in Josh Richardson on a 2-year deal and Thomas Bryant on a 2-year deal as well. And they are really, really trying to get Damian Lillard into the fold. From all accounts, it sounds like Tyler Hero is, the biggest piece. There's a lot of other pieces that need to go back the other way to make the salary structure work. I don't know if it's going to be done with Miami. I don't know if they have enough of the young assets and enough for the Portland fans to not riot and have just an absolute freak out on losing probably the best player that you've ever had for small pieces that will not add up to getting them relevant soon. And they were a pretty bad team last year with one of the greatest point guards in the game, and to lose him for the pieces that I see, it's not making sense right now to me at all yet.
Yeah, it isn't. But here's the thing: like Damian Lillard, he's in a special place because he has been so loyal to that organization. Yep. He has tried to win there until finally he's like, all right, I'm getting kind of long in the tooth in my career. Now, if I don't make a move, because you're like, honestly, the Trailblazers haven't built out their roster or their team very well for the entire time that he's been there.
Yeah.
They punted it. They really have.
Yeah.
So if a guy of that stature, of that nature, that's been that loyal to your organization for so long, so now that he requests a trade and asks you if you can get him to this place, that's where you get him to.
Yeah.
I honestly believe that. You take the hit, you take the loss, it's going to suck. That's what you do. Because if they don't do that, think of this. All them NBA players talk. And so a bunch of stars would be like, so that's how you did Damian Lillard? I don't think I want to play with you guys.
Yeah.
At all.
I definitely get what you're saying, but Joe Cronin, their GM, has to know that this is sort of a make or break for his career, his job. If he doesn't get back enough assets and this team doesn't win some games in the next 2, 3, 4 years, he's out the door and he's looking for work. He's got to try to hit a home run with the cornerstone franchise player they've had for 11 years there. There's going to be a revolt, and there's going to be a lot of of trouble for him if he doesn't bring in some assets.
No, that's true. That's true. That there's obviously two sides to every coin, but I guess I'm going on the player friendly approach, which is he's done that much for you, man. So you have to get, like, obviously you have a duty to try to get the best deal that you can for Damian Lillard, but also too, I think you have a responsibility to try to get him in the best situation that he should be in too as well.
Yeah,
and try to get him.
Yeah, I get that, but I think there's other places that can give him more. I've started thinking, hey, yeah, I could see some worry about players not wanting to go to Portland if they do Damian wrong, but when money talks, a lot of guys go, oh, okay, yeah, I kind of forgot about what they did to Dame there. There's been a lot of departures that haven't been amicable and haven't worked for both sides. And we've seen free agents, we've seen other stars go there. Portland's already in a bit of a tough situation because I don't see NBA players clamoring to try to go there. It's not a preferred destination for a lot of them. They want to go to warm climates. They want to go to the beach. They want to go to the big markets. So Portland already has a bit of a difficulty with attracting free agents and top talent there. So if he messes up on this deal, we probably don't see him sitting in that seat over the next after a couple of years. And then, then this team is back, having to rebuild from the ground up. And this was tough. It was pretty amazing too, the timing where Jeremy Grant signs a 5-year, $160 million deal. And you think, okay, well, that was to try to entice Dame to stay. And then the very next day he leaves. I don't know if he got his buddy money because he already knew he was gone, or that maybe they don't get along and he said, see you later. You signed him. You should have gave me that money. I don't know what happened there, but it was kind of bizarre timing.
Well, I thought that I don't think Dame had a problem with them signing Jeremy Grant, because Jeremy Grant's a good player. He's a very good player, high-end player. I just think Dame looked at it and said, all right, so you had an asset in the third pick, which is Scoot Henderson, and you didn't move him.
Should have moved him, yeah.
And for him, I think he thought to make the team better right away, you move the asset and you get the players that you need. Right. But they didn't do that. And I think that is what solidified them saying, all right, well, I guess you're going in this direction. I need to move in another direction. I'm out.
Right. Yeah, I guess that's we'll probably hear about it years from now, but good chance. I think Scoot Henderson coming in, I thought, should have been dangled as trade bait and saw what they could have got, and maybe you'd still have Dame happy there and keep that cornerstone guy there. It's very rare that guys play their entire careers in one place, and you thought Damian was one of the guys because he had many other times opportunities to say I'm out of here, and he stuck through thick and thin, and but I guess enough's enough, and he's moving on. We'll see who entices them, who can put the best offer on the table, or they just do him right for being so loyal and trade him to Miami and get what they can get.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where he does end up, because obviously they have the rights to trade him to wherever they'd like to trade him to. So let's see what they do. I'm very curious to see what they do.
There's some speculation as well that it could involve a third team, a fourth team. So you can start pulling assets from those teams. Somebody that might covet Tyler Hero or Kent Robinson. Some of the pieces that they have there, maybe so other teams want them, and then they can get some draft capital. Miami's draft, they don't have much draft capital, as well as the young talent that you need for a true rebuild. So we'll see. I'm looking forward to it shaking down. I was hoping that it would be done already by the time we did this podcast, but no such luck. So we'll have to talk about it next week. Okay, turning to Canada's team, the Toronto Raptors. Obviously, losing Fred VanVleet was a massive blow. and really, changes the whole dynamic of the team, because you don't have that elite all-star point guard. They decided to offer Dennis Schroeder that job, gave him a 2-year deal at $26 million. He's been a great piece, complimentary piece, but he's never been the guy. Do you see him fulfilling that role quite well, or do they need to surround him with a lot of other pieces?
Yeah, like I don't think he has the capacity to be the guy because he's not as good as Fred VanVleet. All right, like this point blank, he's not as good as Fred VanVleet. That's yeah, they went down within that positioning right there, right? So, but he will steady the ship because with Fred VanVleet gone, they didn't actually have a point guard. And the team didn't have a point guard. So it's like, oh no, you guys need to get a point guard now to handle the rock. And so now that they have him, so at least the team is steady in that regards. And so and that's it. That's all I'm gonna give them. Like at least they're steady in that regards because Dennis Schroeder can run point, knows what he's doing. He'll be pretty solid in that respect. But if you're expecting him to set the world on fire, that's not gonna happen.
No. Yeah, unfortunately, it's a downgrade there, but we'll see what other types of pieces they've made. They will make and additions. Jakob Poeltl, they made him a great offer, a 4-year, $80 million deal that's supposed to be consummated this week. And as I mentioned earlier, Jalen McDaniels goes there, 2-year, $9 million deal. I've heard they are in the mix for Damian Lillard, and they're going to make the biggest pitch that they can. We'll see if we hear some rumors on the pieces that would go the other way. But we've seen Masai Ujiri pull off some really great moves, getting Kawhi Leonard and winning that championship. I would expect Toronto to be in the mix for it.
Yeah, they would be in the mix, but again, the pieces that they'd have to give up be very much key pieces to their team that they need to do a run, right? Because this is what I would imagine that if you're going to get Damian Lillard, Pascal Siakam, or OG Anunoby, or both, gone. Right? And then that's like, ooh, that hurts.
Now what he knows, yeah.
That hurts.
Well, yeah, Dame's already stated that he doesn't want to go somewhere that gets completely decimated. And, what happened with Phoenix, KD goes there. Team's decimated. It can't go anywhere because it has no depth. So, I think, it has to make sense, but, Toronto said they're in the mix. So we'll see, we'll see what kind of package they can put together. Okay. We'll fly through the teams that are, the bottom half of the Eastern Conference. I'll just mention Chicago ended up finishing 10th, did not make the playoffs through the play-ins. But they've signed a bunch of pieces that they already had. They got Nikola Vucevic to a 4-year, $80 million deal. They got Kobe White signed, 3 years, $40 million. Javon Carter's got a 3-year, $20 million deal. And then they brought in Torrey Craig on a 2-year deal. They also applied for a disabled player exception. They don't expect Lonzo Ball to play at all next year, and they're hoping to get his money off the books. Hopefully that ruling comes down soon for them. They'll know what kind of money that they have out there for free agency or making some trades and stuff like that. So they sort of stand a bit pat, and I'm not sure where they will be, but probably in about the same sort of position they were this year into next year.
Yeah, they're basically in the same positioning because they haven't made their team better. And it's just so sad about Lonzo Ball and the fact that he's had this injury and he's literally been out for like 3 years now.
Yeah,
and with the fact that he doesn't even have a chance of coming back next year.
Yeah,
he's out. So
to already know that it's pretty tough, and it looks like a career-ending possible injury, and he might not ever come back the same. So for such a promising guy, somebody that was looked upon very heavily as he came into the league and has contributed a ton, as well as his brother playing phenomenal in Charlotte. Yeah, tough for a guy to, seem to have his career derailed by injuries.
Yeah, no, it sucks. It sucks because like right there, they actually had one of the best defensive pairings as guards.
Yeah.
The Chicago Bulls did with Lonzo Ball and Alex Caruso, and now that Ball is gone, they don't have that anymore, right? So yeah,
Tough,
horrible,
tough.
tough.
Yeah. Okay, Indiana Pacers were the 11th team in the Eastern Conference. They made a couple of big moves. They acquired Obi Toppin from the New York Knicks. They signed Bruce Brown to a 2-year, $45 million, $45 million deal. Great on Bruce Brown, going to the finals, winning a title, and cashing in. And they also extended Tyrese Halliburton to the Supermax deal of 5 years, $260 million. So, yeah, good moves for Indiana, and great to get Tyrese signing back there for 5 more years.
Yeah, Indiana Pacers are sneakily. They got a lot of talent on that team. Like they got a lot of talent. I'm very interested to see how it all comes together for them in the next upcoming year for the Pacers. But I I have a feeling that they could be very sneaky good.
Yeah,
That like they'll surprise a lot of people next year.
true. I agree. Yeah. Washington, so far the only deal that I've seen announced is a Kyle Kuzma 4-year, $102 million deal. Really surprised by that deal. I thought they were blowing this up after some of the deals that I've already seen them make. I did not think that Kuzma was going to be in their plans, but he's there, and he's probably going to be the most important piece they have. But they're in need of a lot more than he can bring.
Oh yeah, yeah. They need other pieces. Like you, I think you can comfortably say this is a rebuild year for the Washington Wizards, and it might be rebuild years for them for a while.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Orlando signed a couple of guys to 2-year deals. Joe Ingles got a 2-year, $22 million deal, and Moritz Wagner, he got a re-signed to a 2-year deal there. This team's still seriously rebuilding, but acquiring a lot of great young talent, a lot of draft picks. And I would say in a couple of years, this team's going to be forced to be reckoned with, and should be able to get into a playoff position.
Yep, I agree with you on that. I think Jalen Suggs should be coming back next year healthy because I know he was injured at the end of the year. So yeah, I think the future looks bright for the Magic. I think they just have to stand pat, stay on their course, and the Magic I feel are doing it the right way by trying to build to the draft. So yeah, they're on their way.
Yeah. Charlotte Hornets, they made a few deals. As I mentioned, LaMelo Ball, they gave him also that Supermax deal, 5 years, $260 million extension. They gave Miles Bridges his $8 million qualifying offer. There was some speculation that they might move on from him because of his domestic abuse, arrest, and suspension. He got suspended 30 games. He served 20 last year, 10 left this year. They are talking about working out an extension, but I think the money has decreased in quite a bit of value that he was going to get before this police incident and stuff. But yeah, Charlotte's in quite the flux. Now that Michael Jordan is selling off his piece, we'll see what types of changes occur with this franchise. There's been a lot of speculation that Michael Jordan really got sort of fleeced out of his ownership deal. And I really am sad to hear some of the details coming in. Michael Jordan was always known as a gambler, and I guess he gambled with the wrong people, gave some money on some stock speculation that ended up losing him about $500 million. When they said they came to collect the money, he didn't have that kind of liquid cash. So they said, okay, well, what do you have? And he basically has the Charlotte Hornets ownership. So they said, okay, yeah, we'll take that. That sounds good. And yeah, I think it's just looking like a bit of a sad story for such an iconic guy that, you know, you and I reported it, but it doesn't look like it's being done all you know, on the up and up, and making Jordan super happy. I think this is sort of being forced by some sort of shady underhandedness with some guys that he's been dealing with.
Yeah, it sucks. It sucks that this has happened to him. It sucks that he felt that he could go with this person, whoever that person was, that he could trust to make these investments, and then it just, well, he lost it all, right? And for the fact that now he loses a bigger piece, which is ownership rights, and that's huge, because he could have just held on to it and then given it to his children. His children's, like, you know, like that's what legacy you can do with these kind of properties, these assets, if you own them. This is a legacy thing. So it's horrible, but on the flip side, you know, maybe they'll start drafting a little bit better. That's on the flip side. It's like
that has been a tough that has been tough in the Michael Jordan years. They haven't done very well. So other than LaMelo Ball coming in there, yeah, they haven't hit very many home runs. So yeah, we'll see how that all shakes out. I expect Charlotte is years away from making a big impact, but I'm watching them on Summer League right now, which is kind of cool.
okay.
San Antonio Spurs and Charlotte Hornets were scheduled today to play each other. There's 3 Summer League games today. The first one was Miami, the Lakers. This one is going on right now. San Antonio's up 32-13, and second, you know, doesn't really matter about the score, but kind of cool to see some of the pieces, you know, big draft picks that were you know, picked just the other day. And the late game has Golden State against Sacramento. So yeah, I'm keeping it down. I'm recording it. I'm gonna, you know, fast forward and watch some of the you know, key guys that just recently came into the league.
No, yeah, well, it's always good to see those guys, to see how they perform, because like there's Brandon Miller now for like the Hornets. And is Victor Wembanyama, is he playing for the Spurs?
Yeah, he's supposed to. I don't see him on the floor currently, but he's supposed to put in some minutes, they say. Yeah.
Okay, because and I'm just super curious to see how he does, how he fares, and like what I was telling you before, how he's going to grow out his body as his NBA career goes on, because his team, basically, they're of the thought pattern of don't bulk up too much.
Yeah,
this is what you are. This is what you're going to stay as. And I'm like, I don't know if that's going to work, but I'm curious to see if it does.
Yeah, when you said that, I kicked myself later on after the podcast, and not mentioning Chet Holmgren, who, you know, you're a guy that said, as he was coming into the league, this guy is skinny. This guy is like a crazy body that, you know, you don't see very often in the world. And you were worried about his long-term health. And, you know, he was injured in preseason, never played a lick last year. And, you know, Kevin Durant, I've always thought the guy had way too skinny legs to be able to withstand the abuse and the, you know, amount of pounding that they're going to be taking during an 82 game schedule and into the playoffs. And he's had some serious leg injuries. And, you know, you know, I think, you know, it's great to surround yourself with some people that know the physical body better than I do, but I've seen other examples that really don't suggest that that's the way to go. I think bulking up, being super strong all over, you know, is the way to go for me. I see LeBron James, you and I've talked about on this podcast, how many times, how much money he's put in, how he just does not seem to let Father Time really break him down. And this is a guy that's in the league 20 years, all-time scorer, all-time everything, one of the greatest players to ever play. And he's been, you know, getting stronger and stronger. We saw Giannis come in, super skinny. How much bulk has he put on? He has really improved himself. and he's very, very, very tough and strong and durable and has that availability. This might be something that they have to revisit soon, because Wembanyama's coming in, and yeah, like I said, Chet Holmgren, where is he? We didn't see him.
Exactly. Like, I think they have to. You got to put on some size. Yeah. You got to get stronger some way somehow. Now, depending on how you go about it, there's so many different ways to go about it. But I firmly believe that you do need that strength, and you do need to bulk up. Obviously, you're going to bulk up anyways as you mature. But I think that extra weightlifting and stuff that you have to do in the gym, I think it's instrumental if you want a prolonged career in this sport.
If I was his manager, I'd say to him, okay, pull out of the USADA program, just like Conor McGregor does. Go to Russia, get all the stuff sucked into your body, put on 200 pounds, come back. You're looking like Shaq, and you're gonna kick some butt. Nobody's ever gonna stop you, and that's what I'm gonna do. So, Victor, if you're watching, you're listening, sign on with the Complete Sports Media Management Group, and we will get a really good system. It's working for Connor. It's working for Russian athletes all over the map. Why can't it work for Victor Wembanyama?
You know what? Or here's another idea. Go on the Alistair Overeem diet, horse meat. Eat that horse meat, buddy. I'm telling you, man.
Liver and horse meat. Yeah. I think we should get our viewers and listeners to start writing in suggestions on types of diets that he should go on. If he should just do what they say and do not bulk up, stay the way you are, and we don't want to put too much strain on your body. And or let's go with Jason's horse meat, liver. Just eat livers all the time. There's some crazy guy online. He just says, "Oh, I've eaten his liver for the past."
Liver King.
The Liver King, that guy, yeah. And the guy looks super jacked and crazy, but I'm pretty sure he's doing roids. I'm sure, but
yeah, they found him out. He got caught. He was doing steroids along with eating liver, but with steroids as well.
Okay, all right. So yeah. We'll see. But as I said, you said Chet Holmgren. I don't think this guy's body is going to be able to hold up, and he's not much different than Victor Wembanyama, is he?
No, he's not. That was a great call on your part. Like, they do have the similar kind of body type, and then I think Chet went out with that Lisfranc fracture in his foot. So, and now that you mention him, there's another guy that I'm looking forward to see, because we didn't get to see him. We haven't even got to see him play one game yet. So there's something else for us to look forward to.
I think I saw online he is like third overall projected possibility of Rookie of the Year, and I guess he's still eligible for Rookie of the Year. So I think it was Victor, Brandon, and then him, and then Scoot, and everybody else. Hopefully he's back to 100% and was able to sort out his injury troubles. But yeah, to see a generational talent come in and all the potential that they say this guy has, but then to see that others have failed at the same approach, it's smart to use a different approach if you've seen others fail miserably at the same thing that you're trying to pull off.
Yeah. You know what? It's just going to take, I think it's going to take a lot of effort from a lot of multiple areas, angles, perspectives, so that he can get the best, he can maximize his potential and get the best out of his career. Because that's all what we all want as fans, because we just want to see you guys play. All right? We just want to see you guys play. We want to see you do well. We want to see all of these things that you can do, because you can do spectacular things on the court that normal earthbound human beings like us can't do.
Totally, yeah, exactly. Well said. Okay, last team in the Eastern Conference, Detroit Pistons. Don't have to talk about them much. They acquired Monty Morris from Washington. Great deal. They've got Monty Williams there now, and this team has a lot of young pieces they're going to be relevant in 2 or 3 years. We'll see them come together. Let's turn to the Western Conference. Obviously, let's turn to right away to the NBA champion Denver Nuggets. They haven't made many deals. Losing Bruce Brown is quite the big loss for them. That's going to be tough, but a team that has success like this is bound to lose some guys that they can't afford. They did make a couple of signings. Thomas Bryant's got a 2-year, $5.4 million deal. Reggie Jackson has a 2-year, $10.25 million deal. And DeAndre Jordan is a front court center piece for them. I guess when you're the champ, do you really have to make many deals as long as you've got that core still in place?
I would say no, because like you've already proven it with your roster, and their roster is awesome. Yeah. It was awesome from the beginning, and it's still awesome now. And they have guys that can step in and do the roles of what they lost, because I think Christian Brown, you can slot him in and he can be Randy Brown. Right. Like he can take over for that, because he's shown he can do that. He already showed that in the finals. So they were going to lose pieces, as they should. You know, people are going to pick off what they can from the team, but they still have their core. They're going to be fine. They're good, man. They're good.
Did you say Randy Brown? Are you already thinking UFC?
No, sorry.
Bruce Brown.
Bruce Brown.
Yes, we're not talking UFC quite yet, and your countryman from Jamaica. Yeah, Bruce Brown. That was a big loss, but yeah, Christian Brown. He did a lot last year, and yeah, I think he needed that year mentorship and trying to get his legs under him. But yeah, I think that piece will be able to come in and fill that hole. So, okay, this is for our viewers and listeners. Jason probably knows the answer to this, but our viewers and listeners, scream out at your phone, at your laptop, over your earbuds. The team that finished number 2 in the Western Conference last year was who? Okay, yell it a little louder so everyone can hear. Should I give hints? Former team that had to move. Yeah, knife in our heart, but yeah, that's right. It's the Memphis Grizzlies. Finished 2nd overall last year. Really weird when you see that, when you look at that, and you remember the playoffs, and they just seem to be gone quick and really weren't relevant. But they've made a few moves. Obviously, Ja Morant and his dealings in this offseason has been basically taking over the headlines and really making people unsure what's going on with the direction of this team. But he does have a amount of games that he suspended. He'll be back after a quarter of the year's gone, and 25 games, a little more than a quarter of the year. And then we'll see what comes together. Acquiring Marcus Smart was a really smart move because he's a very good defense player, can handle the point guard duties. Derrick Rose they brought in as a one of those veterans that can impact a lot of wisdom, come onto the floor and score really quickly, usually quite easily. And then they did extend Desmond Bane to a $207 million 5-year deal. So I don't know if they're going to stay in that second position in the Western Conference. There's a lot of teams that have done some big moves. But yeah, what do you think about Memphis going in, what they've done in free agency and what they're looking like heading into next year?
Well, I think them getting Marcus Smart was smart. I think that was smart on their part because, as they already said right away, they're not re-signing Dillon Brooks. Dillon Brooks, they were doing a hard pass on Dillon Brooks.
Yeah.
Now with Marcus Smart, by getting him, you get actually a fantastic defender and a guy that can handle the rock, because you're going to need somebody like that since Ja Morant's going to be gone for like 25 games. Yeah. And so I thought that was a very astute, very smart, savvy move on their part. And yeah, I think they're going to try to, somewhat tread water until their superstar comes back and Ja Morant. Mm-hmm. And then once he comes back, then hopefully they can get back onto the regular schedule program and all that sort of stuff. And also, too, I absolutely thought that, yes, Desmond Bain, they had to give him the max contract because, well, he deserves that. He's worth that. And he's part of your core group going forward for that team. So, yeah, had to happen.
Dylan Brooks' word is welcome when he called LeBron James old and when he just started antagonizing and, really becoming such a distraction there. His shooting was horrific, and they tried to get him to shoot less. He did early on, and then he would just try to jack up 10 to 12 shots a game, and he was just horrible. Sometimes, most games, less than 30% shooting from the field. It was embarrassing and pathetic. He gets himself a 4-year, $80 million deal. So, it doesn't look bad, but I think he probably could have got more if he didn't become such a pest and such a distraction to this team, because he really seemed to upset the opponents to the point where they wanted to beat down Memphis really bad. And Memphis was not able to capitalize on a really good regular season and go very far.
No, they weren't able to do that. And yeah, I just didn't appreciate his whole shtick.
No.
Like the whole thing. And especially when he did it and then tried to hide from the media after. Like if you're gonna say that,
the last 3 or 4 games, he wouldn't talk to the media. He got fined for it. But yeah, like to not even show up and show your balls to say, yeah, okay, maybe I was wrong. He just exited the scene right after the games and wouldn't talk to the media. That was really a poor move. And I think a lot of people lost respect for him for that.
Yeah, like I just thought it was cowardly. I thought it was cowardly, and I think the organization of the Grizzlies would have respected him more if he stood up there and just took it, like he should have, right? But he didn't do that. So, yeah, I think the writing was on the wall once all that stuff was happening, and they were definitely going to be parting ways.
That was it, yeah. Sacramento Kings didn't make the playoffs for 16 straight years, and last year they zoomed all the way up to 3rd place in the Western Conference. We're able to get a really big piece in with Domantas Sabonis. We're able to start really building a team around how the Warriors had built their team, had really started resembling what the Warriors did. And I thought a lot more teams would do this because the Warriors' success and the changing of the game to more of a 3-point game and, lots of spacing on the floor and stuff. Had moderate success in the playoffs, but I expect they're going to be up there. A lot of teams in the West are looking really good. We'll see what happens with Sacramento. They were able to sign that Domantas Sabonis to a 5-year, $217 million extension, so he should be there for the long foreseeable future. They re-signed a couple of their centers, Trey Lyles and Alex Len. Alex Len came in, 1-year, $3.2 million deal. Trey Lyles re-signed. And they also reached into the international market, and they brought in Sasha Vezenkov, 3-year, $20 million deal. And there's about 4 or 5 guys that came in from that international window. And this is one of the guys that they think will be really key. He was the MVP in the European League that he was playing in, and should be a fairly key piece. And we'll see what they can put together. I think this team is on the rise and really has a chance to be looking good going in next year.
Yeah, the team is definitely on the rise. And they did the additions around the edges for the team, which is what they needed to do. Because you definitely don't need to change that core. I think what they got going on is fantastic. And like you said, first time in 16 years. And guess what? They're going to be making the playoffs for the next 4 to 5 years. As long as they stay on this current trajectory, Sacramento Kings fans finally have something to cheer about. Yeah. We're good. We're good. So, it's a good thing.
I was glad they didn't light the beam on the Golden State Warriors, and Warriors were able to dispatch them and send them packing. But, this team's going to be good and solid. Looks like they have a really clear direction and made a lot of great moves. And it's a fun team to watch too. They are exciting and they score a lot. And they just got to get some defense, and they should be able to go far. Phoenix has made a ton of moves. We talked to death about Kevin Durant going over there, decimating that team, sending pretty much all the key pieces to Brooklyn to get him. Now they've made a lot of deals to fill in some of those holes, and a lot of really smart, not very lucrative deals. And I think it's been a very good free agency period for them. Okay, let me read them off. Drew Eubanks signed a 2-year deal. Chimezi Metu signed a 1-year deal. Josh Okogie re-signed. Utah Watanabe has a deal. Eric Gordon is there. Damian Lee has signed. And Keita Bates Diop is there, as well as Bradley Beal coming in right before free agency. This team is actually starting to look like a full team now, finally. A lot of deals done in free agency already.
Yeah, and they did really well, I thought, in free agency, considering that they were pretty limited in what they could spend with those 3 massive contracts of Booker, Durant, and Beal. I thought they did. The GM pulled off some wizardry right there for sure, with what they were able to spend and how they spent it on the players that they got. Thumbs up, great job by the front office.
Yeah, I was definitely very impressed and really blown away that they were able to do it so quickly within 2 days, fill in so many open roster spots. And Phoenix is one of only 3 teams with 3 max contracts on the books. They are joined with the Denver Nuggets as well as the Minnesota Timberwolves, and we'll get to Minnesota in a few minutes here. Denver obviously winning the championship. They've got those 3 max contracts now. Phoenix with the 3 max contracts. I expect okay, I'll ask you instead. I won't answer. Who do you think gives Denver the biggest run for their money in the West?
Lakers.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say the Lakers, because I think size-wise they match up really well.
Okay.
And if AD can get back to like MVP form, if he can stay healthy, I don't know how many fingers I can cross, but I don't think it's enough. But and also too, the moves that the Lakers have made have been great.
Yeah,
fantastic moves for the offseason. So I would say that would be number 1 for me.
Yeah, let's talk about the Lakers in a sec, but I don't think they can stay healthy enough. And I think Phoenix is going to give them the biggest run for their money. And I think they've been able to address their concerns and their needs. And look out west. As long as they can stay healthy, I think Phoenix and Denver are going to be battling at the top of the conference. I'll mention the Clippers before Warriors and Lakers. Clippers, they were able to get KJ Martin out of Houston for just a couple of second-round picks. I thought that was a really great deal. They were able to sign Russell Westbrook to a very small deal, 2 years, $8 million, not even $8 million. And Mason Plumlee they brought in today on a 1-year, $5 million deal. As long as health is able to stay with them, Clippers, probably should be right up there as well.
Should be.
Yeah.
Should be. But history tells us Kawhi Leonard and Paul George will be missing a significant amount of time due to something.
Yeah.
And it would be awesome if they didn't, but that's not going to be the case.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
And it sucks. It sucks because if I'm Steve Ballmer and I paid so much money for these 2 guys, I'm like, you guys have played like a third? No. Okay, maybe that's kind of hard, but like only half, maybe half of the games.
Yeah, it's been tough. Yeah, brutal there.
Tough.
Just so brutal. Yeah, Steve Ballmer has spent a lot of money on people being on the floor, and it's been pretty bad. Unbelievable bad health troubles there. And I'd say Kawhi Leonard is one of the worst for being able to stay healthy. Has just been decimated with injuries almost for the past 5-6 years. Really, he's been just really having a hard time. Okay, let's turn to the Golden State Warriors, and my favorite signing of the entire free agency period. Draymond Green got the bag, got $100 million, 4-year deal. Really happy to see that they didn't break up this team. They still have a chance to win another championship, even though it's going to be really tough in a very loaded Western Conference. This was very necessary to keep this core alive, and great to see him get the money and keep the band back together.
Yeah. Steve Kerr said it best. We don't have Draymond. We are not a championship team.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And I think the front office was, yeah, we agree with you. That's why they did the certain moves that they did, where Jordan Poole, gone. Right. And I think that was the most telling thing for me, was when they traded Jordan Poole, because that just told me then they picked Draymond over Jordan Poole.
Sure.
Big.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
and I agree with it. I agree with that move. I agree with what they did there. And I don't think you should ever break up the band that has given you 4 championships to your organization. Yeah. I think you roll with those guys. I look at those 3 and I think of them like Dirk Nowitzki for the Dallas Mavericks. Yeah, they should just be with your organization for the rest of their
whole time.
Yeah.
Just make them a lifelong warrior. And we've seen some bad breakups in the NBA, and to see a Chicago Bulls team that won 6 titles in 8 years to actually break that up, it's just ridiculous. To see Shaq and Kobe not be able to keep together and leave, for Kevin Durant to leave this Golden State team after, they could be talking about 4, 5, 6 titles now. Yep. It's insane that these guys can't put their egos aside and get along and figure it out. And great to see. I'm going to list off the Warriors' current roster and find out what you think now. So we've got Draymond Green, Kevin Looney, and Jonathan Kuminga in the front court, as well as Andrew Wiggins. Guards, we've got Curry, Thompson, Chris Paul, GP, this number 2, Moses Moody, Corey Joseph just signed, which is kind of a great little move, and Brandon Podziemski, their draft pick. Is this team going to be near the top of this Western Conference and contend for a title as well?
I want to say middle of the pack, because it even when you read off the roster, it just seems like they're missing something. It's like they're missing key pieces. Number one, I don't know if they have enough defense. That's one thing that kind of that really stands out to me. If they have enough defensive wings to guard some of the better defensive wings around the league. Because I know that we talked about this before. It's too bad, because I don't think they could ever make this move. But it's too bad they couldn't get a player like OG Anunoby on that team. Because if you got a player like that makes a ton of difference.
Yeah,
a ton of difference to a team like that, right? So, but I don't think they have any wiggle room to change what they actually have going on right now. Like, I think that's what they have, and that's what they're rolling with, and that's what they have to work with.
Yeah, the new CBA agreement with the salary caps and stuff is really hamstringing them and really giving them a hard time. I know that they want to address a center position, try to get a big in there, but just don't have the money to get somebody elite. And they just weren't able to turn their second overall draft pick into that, and ended up not being able to pull that off. But they probably finish about the same place they do. They probably really give some teams some trouble in the playoffs, but if they can address defensive issues they have, as well as some size up front, they're going to have some difficulties. So we'll see how it pans out. Okay, Lakers, you've mentioned them a few times so far in this podcast. We'll get to them. A lot of people said they have done the best moves in the offseason and during free agency. They have addressed a ton of needs. This team was before the trade deadline last year, this team was a joke. This team was ridiculous. I was looking at it like, this is the team they're going with? Are you kidding me? They made amazing moves at the trade deadline, had a really good run in the playoffs, and now they've addressed a lot more needs and pulled off a lot of great acquisitions. These are the guys that they've been able to get into the fold so far in the couple of days of free agency. Gabe Vincent, great guy to get out of Miami. Torian Prince, Cam Reddish, Jackson Hayes, Maxwell Lewis, and Jalen Hood Shafino. And getting Austin Reeves into the fold on a pretty good number. They also re-signed Ruri Hachimura and D'Angelo Russell and Jared Vanderbilt. So, wow, this roster has just been able to really been fully shaped, and I can tell that everybody is just quite amazed at Rob Pelinka and what he's been able to pull off.
Yeah, give Rob Pelinka a hand, everybody, because he pulled off some amazing moves. He has been on fire. He's been like NBA Jam on fire with the moves that he's made. Yeah. And he should be pretty happy with the state of affairs of where he was to where the team is now. Lakers look great.
Yeah.
Great roster. LeBron can't complain about anything except for maybe AD, but he really can't complain about anything because it's like, this is a great roster. You have a little bit of everything. You got shooting, you got size, you got people that can defend on the wings. You got your scoring. You got it. Yeah. It's covered, man. So that's why I think that they have the ability to give the Nuggets a lot of trouble, but certain people need to be available to play to give Nuggets said trouble. That's what I'm going to say.
Yeah, obviously health, and I addressed it already. Anthony Davis has just got to drive a guy bananas. We talked about Steve Ballmer. He already is bald, pulling his hair out for losing Kawhi and PG and all those players. Anthony Davis, his manager, his agent, his family, his teammates, the management of the Lakers, like everybody, just stay healthy, please. But this is another big guy that, resembles Victor Wembanyama, Chet Holmgren, way undersized body, height-wise. Incredible height-wise, but not a lot of bulk on that body, and it has not held up for an NBA.
It just hasn't held up. For whatever reason, it hasn't held up. Now, we don't know what he does for the conditioning of his body in the offseason or what he's eating or anything else. I'm sure he's doing great. But is he doing something like what LeBron has done?
Yeah.
Because, he has the perfect teammate to ask, what do you do? Since you don't seem like you're ever going to stop playing. So maybe I should do what you're doing. That could be something that could help me.
Yeah.
And so, and I don't know if that's just a thing where he's just not disciplined enough to go through the steps to do what.
I just think I just don't think he's smart enough. I think he's just dumb. You got the perfect example right there, right?
He does.
Obviously, every single player, on the Lakers should be workout fiends and putting millions of dollars into their body. Every single guy has that perfect example right there. Anthony Davis has to be dumb. He just has to be dumb. There's no other explanation for it, is there?
Oh yeah, because now when you look at the players, especially players of that caliber, you can go in your house and say, I'm just going to set up like a workout facility, because they can do that.
Yeah.
And it can have everything that you could ever want.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah. Everything. Yeah.
And then now it's at home.
The best trainers, the best chef, the best everything, nutritionist, everything is at your disposal when you're making the kind of money they're making, and there's no excuses.
No, they're not really, man. Not anymore. Like this is not the 80s anymore or anything like that. No, man, you're getting paid and you're getting compensated very well. So use that to your advantage. Not to say that he's not, We don't know, but from
I
what history is showing
I
us,
know.
maybe he could do a little bit more. That's it.
I I think in about 5 years, maybe 10, all
Mhm.
NBA players are gonna look like cyborgs. They're gonna look like the most craziest athletes we've ever seen. They're just gonna walk in and just you're just gonna be like, like, oh my God, is that a human being? Like,
Yeah.
they have when you're making 50, $60 million a year, spending 1 million is nothing. That's
No.
nothing. You
No.
can make your body so finely tuned to the best it's ever gonna be. It's just these guys are gonna be incredible, incredible shape as long as they do it.
No.
There's lazy guys out there that eat hamburgers and
Mhm.
don't really understand it, but the guys that get it, they're going to be the best athletes we've ever seen in the world.
Yeah, and we how about this? We have another perfect example of what happens when you actually take your health seriously or your conditioning seriously. The Joker, Jokic,
Yeah.
perfect example. Started taking his conditioning seriously, and now the man can run a fast break from end to end, no problem,
Yeah.
and he can do that for the entirety of the game.
Yeah. And
Right?
three-time
Simple as that.
MVP now. Uh,
Yeah.
two regular seasons, one playoff MVP, and yeah, this is a guy that's turned it around. And as I mentioned, Giannis, I really wish I could just immediately put up a picture of Giannis when he came into the league and Giannis now. It's just glaring. It's just incredible, like an amazing transformation. Doesn't even look like the same person.
Yeah, but and then that's the dedication and effort he put in to building up his body so that he can do that. Because not too long ago, when they did win and they were on that run, and he hyperextended his knee, normally you would never come back from that. You're
Gone.
gone.
Yeah.
No, I firmly believe it was because of the strength and conditioning that he's done throughout the years. He
Yeah.
was able to recover and come back and play
Yeah.
and win.
Totally. Yeah. Okay, we got to fly through the rest of these. Minnesota Timberwolves ended up eighth in the Western Conference this past year. They've been doing some very weird things. They've got 3 max contracts at their center position. Kind of bizarre. I don't know where they're going with it all. They've got Rudy Gobert, who's taken a lot of cash. They've got Anthony Edwards, who just signed a really smart deal, 5 years, 260. I want to get into a little bit on Anthony Edwards, and then they got Karl Anthony Towns, and then they signed Naz Reid. So they got so much front court. I don't know where they're going. This is a really weird team. I think one of these pieces is going to get traded. I feel like Karl Anthony Towns is probably out the door fairly soon if they can find a suitable match. Anthony Edwards seems to be the face of this franchise going forward. They'd probably love to get rid of Rudy, but all the assets they gave for him and not a lot of takers probably. So I think this team is way too front court heavy. Needs to get some complementary pieces. Probably Towns is on the way out soon.
Yeah, they got to move somebody, and it's probably not going to be Rudy Gobert because I don't think there's really a market for Rudy Gobert
Yeah,
anymore.
yeah.
So I would say that it's definitely going to be Karl Anthony Towns if they move anybody. And then Anthony Edwards is their future, so he's staying right where he is. Yeah, the moves that they made, especially when they got Rudy Gobert, it was head scratching. Where you're just like, I don't see how that works.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, it doesn't.
No.
So, so yeah, they got a lot of work to do.
They got some work to do. They did sign Nickeil Alexander-Walker to a 2-year deal. They brought in Shake Milton to a 2-year, $10 million deal that you made mention of, and they got Troy Brown in. You like the Shake Milton deal?
I do like the Shake Milton deal. I think that gives them another capable ball handler that that can get you buckets too as well. So I do like that deal.
Okay, I saw a statistic today that kind of blew my mind. Anthony Edwards is the 4th in NBA history for most points before turning 22 years old. The three guys ahead of him are LeBron James, Kevin Durant, and Carmelo Anthony. Those are the only three guys that have scored more points than Anthony Edwards before turning 22. That's an impressive list to be on.
That's a super impressive list to be on because you could pretty much argue those are probably three Hall of Famers. So if he continues going along his current trajectory, yeah, Hall of Fame career. So good on him.
Yeah.
Great stat, by the way, because I had no idea.
Yeah,
Did not.
crazy. Yeah. He's one of only three players last year with 1,500 points and 100 steals, along with DeJounte Murray and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. So that's another impressive list to be on. I'm gonna actually read those points off. LeBron, before he turned 22, had 7,867 points. Kevin Durant had 5,967. So LeBron had about 2,000 more. Wow. And then Carmelo had 5,485 and Anthony Edwards 4,871. So, but yeah, you can see LeBron already,
Yeah.
3,000 ahead of Anthony and 1,000 ahead of KD. And there is, as I mentioned earlier, Minnesota is one of the only three teams in the league with three players on super max contracts. That's Denver, Phoenix, and Minnesota. So we'll see what takes place there. They're going to have to probably make a move. Anthony Edwards hit career highs in so many categories last year. Points per game 24.5, rebounds per game 6, field goal percentage 46, 3-point percentage 37, career highs in assists, steals, points, and blocks. Just what an amazing time to have a career year as you're heading into getting a chance to sign a supermax deal. Pretty nice for him, and $260 million coming his way in the next 5 years.
That is a lot of cheddar. But obviously well deserved because he earned that. I did not know that he statistically had one of his best years of his career. I did not know that. So
almost every single category. And I think LeBron James picked him as the #1 overall draft pick in the All-Star game. I think he went and looked around and said, that's my #1 guy. And Anthony Edwards was the top guy for LeBron James All-Star picks. So that was an eye-opener for many. And but when you look at the statistics and what he's brought to the table, shouldn't have been such an eye-opener.
No, maybe not. But I do remember, I don't know if it was this year, but one of the years, the Joker was one of the last ones picked. Yeah. Or was the last one picked.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Now isn't that funny now, right?
That is hilarious. Yeah, that is hilarious. Okay, I'm going to fly through the rest of the teams. New Orleans just made a couple deals. Herb Jones, 4 years, $54 million. Cody Zeller, 1 year, $3 million. We'll see how the Pels put together. Obviously, health is a big concern for them, and we'll see if Zion can stay healthy. And that team should be able to be decent if he can. If he can't, they're back down near the bottom. OKC, they got Jack White. They signed Jack White out of Australia, brought in a guy from down under, and also from down under, Patty Mills was acquired from Brooklyn. They've got a lot of draft picks and young guys, and building around Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Lou Dort, and players like that. We'll see them in the playoffs in a couple of years, I would think. Big move for Dallas. They decided to re-up with Kyrie, 3 years, $126 million. They got a guy out of Europe, Dante Exum, who's been away from the NBA for a while. Signed Seth Curry to a 2-year deal and got Dwight Powell on a 3-year, $12 million deal. I guess it was pretty much a no-brainer. You had to do what you had to do with Kyrie. It'll be interesting to see if him and Luka can keep together this year and make this team relevant.
Yeah, they didn't have a choice. I think they had to go with Kyrie. They had to give him his money so that Luka would be somewhat placated because you do have another superstar to roll with. But they still have the same problems, which is utter lack of defense, utter lack of defensive wings to play. Like they got nothing there.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they're going to do like a move or a trade at some point in time so that they can get some defense because they have no defense. I think they did draft some wing players that could possibly step in for that, but they are rookies. So I don't know if they're going to be ready to do that like right away.
Yeah. Okay, Utah, only deal so far, Jordan Clarkson, 3-year, $55 million deal. Smart move by them. Portland, we talked about them a lot. Jeremy Grant, the big signing, and Dame Lillard being traded soon, it looks like. Houston, quite the moves. Fred VanVleet, Jack Langdale, Dylan Brooks, and Jeff Green. We talked about that. And to finish it off, San Antonio, they obviously were really big with drafting Victor Wembanyama and trying to start surrounding guys around him. They signed a lot of small deals. The biggest deal was Trey Jones, bringing him in on a 2-year, $20 million deal. This team's still, a couple years away, but obviously starting to get some very, very big, important pieces there. And looks like they'll be very relevant as long as Victor can stay healthy and the pieces they've surrounded him around with can be decent.
Yeah. They'll be relevant, and they're going to give Victor time to develop. They're just going to give him time. They're going to be super patient. I hope that Greg Popovich sticks around as coach long enough in Victor's career, because we know that he's getting older.
Yeah.
So as long as he can be there for a little bit longer, Victor's career, maybe like another 2 to 3 years or 4 years, for however long he can last, so you can have that base.
Yeah.
So that and so you can have that base, have that successful mindset that he's going to need for his future NBA career.
Just some notable free agents that are still left on the board. Kelly Oubre Jr., Dario Saric, Ayo Dosunmu, PJ Washington, Christian Wood, Grant Williams, and Matisse Thybulle. Those are the notable remaining free agents. Not a lot left. It was crazy on Friday and Saturday, and even a little bit yesterday. Really only like 1 or 2 deals today. It's almost done. That's pretty crazy how fast it can happen.
Yeah, no, it's amazing how fast it can happen, and how quickly things move, and then how much money is being spent.
Yeah,
just the sheer amount of money is ridiculous.
It's incredible. Yeah, amazing. I'm going to talk about the NHL free agency after you're gone, Jason. I would want the viewers and listeners to keep tuning in if you want to hear some NHL talk. I'd rather talked about some UFC with Jason and then send him on to his evening, and then I'll just go over some of the NHL moves that were made. As I mentioned off the top, about $500 million was made on that opening day, and deals are still coming in, so that'll be fun to talk about. Okay, we had a great UFC card from Vegas again. Sean Strickland was told that there was a lot of guys that they had asked to fight him, and they all turned him down. And then finally, Abus Magomedov said sure, and then he said, "Who the hell is Abus Magomedov?" And then he looked into it and found out, okay, the guy seems legit, but I'm still gonna kick his ass. And he did that. He used the very methodical, slow and steady approach. Let Abus really wear himself out after a pretty dynamic first round, and then that second round it was a little gassed, and Strickland just was a tiger stalking his prey, was able to just take him out, and in a very impressive fashion. It was something that I kind of expected, but it was pretty interesting to actually watch happen in real time.
Yeah. The thing I was surprised at was how Magomedov just ran out of steam in the second round.
Yeah.
Because in my head, I'm like, did you not prepare for a 5-round fight? You ran out of, like, he literally ran out of steam in the second round. And I was like,
Yeah,
I
his pace. I didn't think he'd be able to keep up that pace I saw in the first round, and
it was,
he didn't obviously utilize that same pace in training, because his trainers and his coaches would have been like, no, you got to dial it down a little bit, because this could be a 5-round fight. But he was trying to get him out of there in the first round, and when he couldn't, that was kind of the beginning of the end for him.
yeah, because like Strickland has that his own unique style of that Philly shell kind of role, and then that's how he plays his defense, and he's able to slip those punches. But the one thing about Strickland is you're never speeding that guy up.
Right.
He's just gonna fight at his pace. He's always gonna fight at his pace. And as the analysts were saying, like, that dude can fight at that pace for 8, 9, 10 rounds. No problem.
Yeah.
He
Your audio has cut loose a little bit. No, I'm still barely hearing you. Nothing on your end. Nothing changed on my end. Wow. I'm almost barely hearing you.
Nothing?
No, there you go. You're good.
Oh, okay. All right. I don't know what I did. Okay. So so going back to what I was saying. So when Strickland started to really put it on him because he saw that Magomedov was tiring, he took his he hunted him down.
Yeah.
Took his time, hunted down his prey, and he did not rush.
No.
Just slowly picked him apart. Beautiful combinations of punches up when he was up against the fence. And you could tell by Magomedov's his body language. He goes, the end is coming. The end is coming, and it's coming very, very soon.
Yeah, he'd almost resigned his fate early on once he took a few of those shots, and he started trying to cover up, but it was just taking shots, overshot. It looked like he had given up very, very quickly, and realized, oh man, I got no gas left, and this guy's hitting me some brutal shots. I don't see myself lasting. You could almost read it on his mind. It was over, and it sure was. Yeah, there's different levels, Sean Strickland, I think that was his 6th main event, and so he knows how to fight in 5-round fights. And number 7 ranked, and immediately asking for a title shot, immediately asking for guys in the top 2 or 3. A little bit maybe of an overshot, but we'll see. I watched his pre-fight conference, and it was so cringeworthy. Do not watch it. No matter what, whoever's listening, whoever's watching, do not watch it. So cringeworthy, just brutal. The guy is such a redneck. He is very, very, very uncouth, and he to me gives a lot of mixed martial artists a bad name when he speaks and when he says the stupid, crazy things he says. I really wish he wouldn't talk very much more. Just utilize his fighting as, showing the world who he is. This fight became so close to getting derailed right off the bat when he got poked in the eye, and he said, I think I almost got pregnant when off of that. That's the kind of craziness that he says. And but you got to respect his fighting. You got to respect that he just has a very great defense, a very good methodical way of fighting, and it's worked for him. He's, top 5. He's number 7. Top 7 in that division is a huge accomplishment. And, you look down his roster of guys he's fought, it is a super impressive list. And, you got to give him a ton of props for his career and what he's been able to do. And this fight was a typical example of Sean Strickland's brilliance as a fighter.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. He's fought in a who's who of the best, and he will continue to keep doing that. But you are also absolutely right. Where when that guy talks, I've heard him on podcasts sometimes, and I'm like, all right, no more of this.
Yeah. Yeah.
I am going somewhere else. Like he says some stuff that is not just offsides. It's just off earth. Like,
Yeah.
you can't say that.
Yeah, don't like it. I wish they would just somehow be able to mute him and not let him talk and just let him fight. Yeah. So he got a 50K bonus for that performance, and he deserved it. And good to see that he won. I'm sure he'll get some tough opponents moving forward if they accept the fight. He said he was offered up to 3 ranked opponents above him, and they all said no. Not sure if that's 100% true, but that's what he said. So we'll see. Okay, the co-main event had a couple of really tough guys in Grant Dawson and Damar Ismagulov. And Grant Dawson, wow, he looked great. He was phenomenal on his takedowns and was able to get some top control. It was one of those rinse and repeat, 3 rounds in a row. He did the exact same thing. Was able to get some clinch, get him down, took control and held him for the entire round. Was able to get his back, get the body triangle in, and attempt do some chokes and stuff. But yeah, this looked pretty easy. It's not from a guy like Ismagulov, but it was a dominating performance for sure.
Dominating performance. Ismagulov is a very, very good fighter, and he made him look pretty pedestrian in this one. Like, when it came down to the groundwork and the grappling, it was completely outclassed by Dawson. Completely outclassed. Like, it was just the fluidity of his flow. It was grappling to take the back, to put in like the body lock. Amazing. It was almost seemed effortless.
Yeah.
At times. Yeah. And I was amazed. I was just amazed by how easily he dealt with Ismagulov. And then he got the rear naked choke finish, but not underneath the chin, but crushing the chin finish. And great win by Dawson. Dominating win.
Yeah, no, it was phenomenal. Very impressive. Okay, the fight between Max Payne Griffin and Michael Morales. I was really looking forward to this one. Good to see Max back. He had been away from the UFC for a couple of years, was making his 15th UFC appearance and coming in, fighting a guy very young, 24 years old. Just really one of these up and comers that you can see will be one of the elite fighters in that division very soon. Michael Morales came off the Dana White Contender Series and has had 3 fights in the UFC now, 3 wins, and is really, really looking great. I was impressed by so much of Morales, and I think this guy comes from a very elite family too. Both his parents were Olympians, and his mom actually won a Pan American gold medal this week. This week she won a Pan American gold medal for his country of Ecuador. Super impressive. And this guy, look out, welterweight division, he's coming.
Oh yeah, no, he looked fantastic. He looked great. I thought he worked the jab well. Leg work with the leg kicks were great. Hurt Griffin in the second round with 2 huge overhand rights, which seemed to change the dynamics of the fight. Griffin really never got back into the fight after that. Like, that's when Morales really started to take over, especially near the end of round 2. Began to really get to Griffin, began to batter him quite a bit. Great win by Morales. Great win by Morales. Looked really, really good.
Yeah, he had great leg kicks. Actually took Griffin down with a leg kick on one of them. Nice leg takedowns for the rounds to score them. dominating, mostly this fight, especially second round and further, and huge, great win. Okay, do you want to talk a little bit about this all Brazilian affair? Queen of Violence, Ariane Lipski, really was the dominating girl in this performance. All three scorecards 30-27, and no, actually it ended up being a split decision. Sorry, what am I saying? Split decision. I thought Lipski was better. It was back and forth quite a bit, but yeah, pretty even fight actually, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was pretty even. And I thought Gato made it even because of her grappling along the fence. I personally would have preferred a little bit more action in this fight, but it was boring. It was what it was.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, Lipski was better on in the stand up and putting her combinations together. And she got the win.
Yeah. Okay, the lightweight fight between Benoit Saint Denis and Ismail Bonfim. Great performance from Benoit. He was able to get a takedown, got his back, got the body triangle in, sunk a rear naked choke. That was where the face was being shown. Yeah, that was the one you were talking about earlier. Just the face crank was just too much to handle. It wasn't under the chin, but he still tapped, and Benoit got the big win.
Yeah, he got the big win. Saint Denis had great kicks to the body. For whatever reason, Bonfim was just like, kick me more. Like I you know what I was thinking of? Like Bloodsport. That's what I was thinking when he was kept kicking him, and there's like, oh, so is he going to kick him back? It's like, come on, bah, bah, bah.
I love that movie. That was yeah, for sure. It did look like that, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. It did. Yeah. Great win by Saint Denis though, because once it went to the mat, that's where he took over. Bonfim was not the same grappler or had the same grappling chops as Saint Denis. Got the great win.
Yeah, huge. The God of War, Saint Denis, he called out either Arman Sarukian, Rafael Fiziev, or Mateus Gamrot. He said, if it's Gamrot, why don't we fight in Europe in September? And that's when they're returning to France. So that would be great for the French fans. Gamrot and him could be a hell of a battle.
No, that'd be a great fight, because also too, travel wise, that works for Gamrot since he's overseas anyways. So that might be one that they actually make.
Yeah, he's from Poland, so yeah, that's why he said he made that suggestion. So we'll see if they put it together. Okay, the fight that opened the main card was Bruno Ferreira and Nursultan Ruzibov. Ferreira was supposed to fight Abdul Razak Al Hassan, but he had to pull out, so they gave him a late replacement, and I don't know if he would have fared any better against Razak Al Hassan, but he goes in here 10-0. And really talked a big game and said he was gonna continue to be undefeated and kick some butt. But once he threw that kick and Ruzibev ended up catching it and landing that shot, oh man, it was over. He threw a couple punches on the ground, but it was over. That was a very, very highlight reel type of knockout where the guy was flat as a board as he was getting hit. It was it looked pretty cool to me, and was a spectacular knockout.
No, it was fantastic. Catching the leg kick and then firing back with the right hand, and then some vicious ground and pound just to put like the cherry on top. I'm pretty sure with one of those shots, that guy went out. He was out cold.
He was out,
because I saw his body not move after one of those shots.
He got stiffened up pretty badly. It's incredible, and this is one thing that blows me away sometimes about the UFC is that there is talent all over the world, and there's guys that can come in making their UFC debut and be this spectacular because This was his 47th pro fight. 47th pro fight, making his UFC debut. Like, we don't see that in any other sport. A guy that has that much pro experience getting into, the top league and being able to be one of the guys immediately. This is a guy that has massive wars in his history. He's stopped 35 of those opponents. And, to be able to see that as the UFC and see that kind of talent and realize I can bring him into the UFC and he's immediately somebody that's exciting and has that potential to be elite, one of those top fighters in this division immediately. This was a very great signing and amazing to see the guy put it on display at this age and with this much pro experience.
Yeah. When I heard that he had 47 fights, I was like, wait, what? I had to rewind it because I was just like, no, that couldn't be right. I thought I heard it wrong.
Yeah.
I thought I heard it wrong. But yeah, indefinitely. When you have that much experience and you walk into the UFC, well, you're not going to be hindered by the moment whatsoever.
No.
Whatsoever. You're ready for what comes, and you should be seen as not a rookie because you're definitely not.
That's true. Yeah. No, the Hulk was overwhelmed. He gets this late replacement, and then he's like, I got to fight. Who? I don't know this guy's name, but let me look up his record. And then, what? Should I have it? I've only fought 10 times. This guy's fought almost 5 times more than I have. Like, should we have really agreed to this, guys? Like, what the hell? That was unbelievable, crazy matchmaking and scary unfortunately for an undefeated guy who had a lot of potential, and he's called the Hulk because he's very tough and solid. But that's crazy that a guy can come in on his debut and have that much more experience than you've got.
Oh yeah, no, it's absolutely insane. And then also too, knowing that it's like, well, kind of set me up for failure on this one, boys. Yeah,
thanks a lot, guys. Yeah, this wasn't that cool of you. I'll remember. Yeah. Okay, let's fly through the preliminary card. Kevin Lee also returning after a bit of a hiatus, came in, had to fight. One of those cheating Russian guys, and the Balkan, he just called the Gladiator, came in. Once he ended up landing a shot to his face, knocked Lee down. Lee tried to get a takedown immediately to try to get out of the compromising position, and then a guillotine choke was just sunk in. And the way that they were sort of sitting, Herb Dean couldn't tell he was out, and I think he was out for a good 5 or 6 seconds until Herb actually really noticed that he was, and that was unfortunate. I hope Kevin Lee doesn't have long-lasting effects, because this fight was done so quickly by that guillotine, but just the weird position they were in, you couldn't tell he was out. But once you saw that he was out and he hit his face to the mat, it was like pretty obvious that this had rendered him unconscious way before it was stopped.
Yeah, it's not Herb Dean's fault necessarily, because of the positioning of the bodies.
Yeah.
Luckily, he did finally get in there and started moving appendages and be like, "Oh, he's non-responsive. I think he's out. I think I'm going to call him buddy." Yeah. But because if there's one thing you don't want to see anybody be holding on to these chokeholds for too long, because that can be actually quite dangerous. So I'm glad Herb Dean stepped in when he did. But This guy. Great.
To say his first name, I hate these Russian names. That's another reason why I'd like them banned. Makes me sound like an idiot when I'm trying to read them off. Jesus Christ.
Oh man, like this one was hard, man. So Bakhradenatov, man, I probably mangled that. But anyways, great win. And the fact that he locked up that power guillotine like immediately, very savvy on his part, smart move.
Yeah, we talked about another up and comer in that welterweight division. This guy, he's got 20 straight wins, 20 straight, not only UFC obviously, but 20 straight wins, and another amazing choke that just was very, very, very highly skilled. And look out, there's another very big contender immediately in that division. Joe Anderson Brito was supposed to fight Hussein Askabov, who had to pull out. They had to find a late replacement, and they found Weston Wilson was the latest victim. Joe Anderson Brito, I think it's Brito is how you pronounce his last name. He ended up getting a very nice knockout about halfway through the first round. Was able to just get out of some compromising positions. There was a knee bar there. There was some attempts at a heel hook. And then he was able to just rain down some serious ground and pound from a compromising position Wilson was in and get the win.
Yeah, like once he was able to get out of somewhat get out of like the leg lock position that he was in, that Wilson almost had actually.
Yeah, close.
And then rain down vicious ground and pound. I guess that's one of the best ways to get a guy to get to release his leg lock hold is by punching him repeatedly in the face as hard as you can until he goes unconscious.
Yeah.
Great way.
I saw that knee bar, and the knee was flexing quite a bit under his body, and it looked dangerous. It looked like, whoa, if it flexes anymore, there's no way he's not going to be able to tap, or his knee's going to get destroyed. And then somehow he was able to get out of it and rain down those shots. But yeah, it was deep, and he was in trouble there. But unfortunately for Wilson, he gets the loss. Okay, I don't even want to talk about the next fight, the women's featherweight fight. It wasn't shown on the main card, on our broadcast, so I saw bits and pieces of it. I really kind of a boring fight, but I do want to talk about the fight of the night. That turned out to be Guram Kutateladze, who you like a lot. He fought Elves Brener. Brener won this fight handily. Kutateladze, super tough guy, one of the best fighters, definitely in the UFC. Incredible, from Georgia, tough as nails. And I was really stunned that Brener was able to come in. He was a plus 500 underdog. Kutateladze was a minus 675 favorite going in. Brener was able to weather an early storm, and then he was able to even weather the huge elbows that cut him pretty badly. He was bleeding up a lot. In that third round, he landed a shot on Kutateladze's neck, and it immediately staggered him. He just, it looked like it almost knocked him out, and he was just like falling. Oh, and he just fell down. And then Brener came in, finished him off with a couple shots. It was a very, very vicious shot that hit him in the neck. And you don't often see shots hit a guy in the neck and incapacitate him that quickly, but Kutateladze was just unable to continue. It almost knocked him out from that shot, and it was very, very impressive.
Yeah, because again, I definitely didn't have Brener winning this fight.
Yeah.
And on top of that, Kutateladze, in my opinion, had a great second round with those vicious elbows. Cut him deep with those elbows, man. So I kind of thought the fight was going one way because of that second round, but Brener showed a ton of heart.
Yeah.
Ton of heart coming back and getting the win.
Charles Oliveira is one of his training partners. He was in his corner, and Oliveira has the most finishes in UFC history, and is an incredible mixed martial artist. We saw him in Vancouver a few weeks back, and one of the most beloved fighters on the planet. Was able to really get Brener ready for this. I think the odds makers weren't taking in some of those factors into account, and I think they had this very mismatch. I sure wish I put money on Brener. I would have been super, super happy today. They both got 50K for the fight of the night. Brener also, he was starting to take over. He landed some amazing body shots that really hurt Kutateladze, and really, I don't know if he noticed, but I sure noticed them sapping him as the fight wore on, and he landed a couple of really severe body shots near the end, and it just seemed to take Kutateladze's gas tank and ability to defend. His hands were dropping to stop, feeling that, and I think that's where that shot to the neck kind of was able to present itself.
Yeah, you know what they say, classic body head. Yeah. And that's what he went to, and was able to drain that gas tank of Kutaladze's until dropped the hands a bit, got him in the head.
Yeah, and Brener was supposed to fight Jordan Levitt coming in. Levitt had to pull out, and so it was quite shocking that he was, given such a tough opponent, but he was able to, pull it off and get a great victory. And I really like the Romanov Blagoy Ivanov fight to start the card. Romanov, great fight, but both guys tough as nails, and it was a good heavyweight battle. 15 rounds. I really enjoyed it. I'm not a fan of decisions too much, but this was a hell of a good heavyweight fight. Both guys should be very impressed. Tough as nails, and loved it. UFC 290 coming at us this Saturday. Really excited about this card. I've been salivating at this card for months and months and months since it's been announced. I wish this card was in Vancouver because it would have been even that much better. Love the Vancouver card. Absolutely love the Vancouver card, but holy crap, this fight is stacked. Two title fights off the top, and then on and on and on. I'm looking forward to the stylistic matchup between Alexander Volkanovski and Yair Rodriguez in the featherweight championship. Volkanovski has the belt. Yair is holding the interim belt. They have both fought incredible, talented guys all the way through their careers, and this is going to be a fun one. I'm super stoked for it.
It's going to be a great fight. It's going to be a great fight. I'm interested to see what Yair is going to bring to the table, because you know what Volkanovski is going to bring to the table. And I'm kind of curious to see if is Volkanovski going to show that he's the cream of the crop, top of the top, and is he going to blow Yair Rodriguez out because of just how good he was against Makhachev?
Yeah.
Or is Yair going to do some crazy sort of strike that Volkanovski's not going to see? He's going to get knocked out like he did to Korean Zombie, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what Yair Rodriguez can do. I'm super excited about the fight. Styles make fights, and this is going to be a great fight. Great fight.
Yair has 9 performance awards. He's got that knockout of Korean Zombie. He also is he has one of the 2 switch kick knockouts in UFC history, and does crazy style and can come at you with so many different weapons. But Volkanovski, once he went and challenged Islam Makhachev, a lot of people said, why would you do such a thing? I think that even in that loss, he was able to realize his full potential and is, one of the top fighters, pound for pound in the UFC. And I think his status and his knowledge and everything is putting him into some elite company. And I think, to me, my money would go on Volkanovski, because I just think this guy is just such an elite fighter.
Yeah, I would have to tend to agree with you, but also knowing that you cannot count out Yair Rodriguez because of his creativity with the striking. He can hit you when you're not expecting to be hit. Yeah,
for sure. Co-main event, Brandon Moreno, Mexican champion. Love him. He's finally not having to fight Davison Figueiredo anymore, but now he faces a guy in Alexander Pantoja, another Brazilian, who has actually beaten him twice in the history. Beat him in 2018, was able to finish him, and he beat him in the tough series, which doesn't count on his record, but it is still a loss to Pantoja in my mind. And we saw this happen with Adesanya and Alex Pereira, where Pereira had beat him a couple times in kickboxing and came in and was able to beat him. Pantoja, I'm giving him a shot because he has beaten him twice. This is a much different fighter in Brandon Moreno from 2018 onwards, but this really makes me very intrigued about this matchup.
Yeah, because you know it's got to be a little bit in Brandon Moreno's head, right? Because he's never beat this man, so it's gonna be a great fight again. But Pantoja has to realize, not the same guy, not the same fighter I fought when I did then, and I beat him. But I'm looking forward to this fight too.
Yeah,
two great fights right off the bat, right there.
Yeah, incredible. Then we get Robert Whittaker, former champion, against Dricus du Plessis. Whittaker, the Reaper, guy that wants the belt again, wants another chance at Adesanya. So does Dricus, but Whittaker to me is the better fighter. Du Plessis, I've seen him get damaged severely and still be able to come back and win. He's super tough and very durable. This is an intriguing fight in my mind. I'm giving the nod to Whittaker, but yeah, I think this fight should be fun to watch though.
This fight's gonna be great to watch. I definitely am giving the fight to Whittaker because of the fact that this is a huge step up for du Plessis. Yep. This is big time step up. Yep. And I think I have a sneaking suspicion that this is the best Robert Whittaker we're going to see in this fight.
Nice. Yeah. Whittaker's number 2 ranked in the middleweight division. Du Plessis is number 5. I think both of them have been sort of guaranteed that they will get the title shot. So lots on the line here. These guys are going to give it their all. I've seen du Plessis gassed and damaged and continue on. But I think Whittaker is a guy that, should be able to win this. The level of competition that Whittaker's faced is nothing that du Plessis has ever seen. So the Jalen Turner Dan Hooker fight is really quite interesting. This is number 10 against number 11. Turner has actually beat, I think, 5 different Aussies, either New Zealand or Australian fighters. So that's kind of another notch on his belt. Unfortunately, Dan Hooker has lost 4 out of his last 6. But the guys that he's lost to are Dustin Poirier, Brendan Allen, Islam Makhachev, and Michael Chandler. So tough guys. So give him a little bit of a break. Jalen Turner is coming off a loss to Mateus Gamrot, but he won 5 straight before that fight. So this will be a great fight as well. So far all these fights, love them.
Yeah, this is one heck of a main card. There's probably, would you say right now this might be the best main card of the year so far?
Yeah, I think so. On paper, it looks like the best card that they've put together for sure this year.
Oh yeah, for sure. By far and away. This is a great card, and just like yourself, I am very much looking forward to watching this.
Tresean Gore and Bo Nickal should be great. Bo Nickal's very hyped, and a lot of people love him. A little early for me to love him yet, but we'll see how he comes together. The prelims: Robbie Lawler, Nico Price. Lawler, former champion, long time, one of the OGs. Great to see him here. Jack Della Maddalena is on this card. He was supposed to fight Sean Brady, but that fight fell off, unfortunately. And Josiah Harrell is stepping up on short notice. He's undefeated. We'll see, if he can do something against Jack Della, who's a pretty phenomenal fighter.
Oh, he's an excellent fighter. He's an amazing fighter. So yeah, taking that guy on short notice, I wouldn't wish that on anybody, but good luck.
And then the early prelims. This is early prelims. We got Jimmy Crute, Alonzo Menafield. Can you believe that's early prelims? These two guys are serious bangers. And light heavyweight, one of these guys is getting knocked out, and this is going to be a hell of a battle.
Yeah, somebody is going unconscious in that fight. It is not going to go to a decision. Yeah, again, great way to that's the early prelim fight. That's an early prelim fight. It's amazing.
Try not to miss Tatsuro Taira's fight. This guy's coming in. This is a UFC debut, and man, I've seen some of his fights. This guy's a ninja. He is unbelievable. Super excited for his matchup, and on and on and on. This is going to be the card of the year, and it all kicks off about 1 p.m. Pacific time for the early prelims. Don't miss any of it. Just watch it. It's going to impress the hell out of you. This is, this is the card of the year. And I think next week, you and I are just going to be smiles talking about how many amazing fights were on this card. It's going to be super fun to break down.
Yeah. I look forward to it. Look forward to breaking it down, and definitely looking forward to watching it. It's going to be fun.
Okay. We've gone super long, so I want to cut it off very quick. I don't think I mentioned Happy Canada Day weekend to everybody. Hope you had a really great weekend. We are on the eve of July 4th, which is tomorrow. Happy Independence Day to everybody that's down south and celebrates that holiday. I'm very excited for it. My favorite athlete is competing tomorrow, and I talked about him last year. I can't wait. Oh my God. I am going to be up early, making sure I put my shirt on and get ready for him. Do you know who I'm talking about?
No, I am drawing a complete blank.
He competes every July 4th is a hint.
Nope. Still drawing a complete blank.
I think it's my favorite athlete in the world. Joey Chestnut going for his 15th hot dog eating championship tomorrow. Is it 15? No, he's already 15-time champ. He's going for 16th championship. He is just an absolutely incredible fine-tuned athlete that nobody can touch in hot dog eating and many other eating challenges. Make sure you get up early. Tune in ESPN 3. He's going to be on there. Cash in his first place check again. He's trying to break his record of 76 hot dogs and buns in 10 minutes. He's eaten more than 70 hot dogs in that 10 minutes over 6 different times. He holds every top 10 record that they have there, and going for another incredible eating title. Are you as excited as I am?
I don't think so.
Damn.
I don't think so. But good for Joey going for a 16-time champion. I don't think he's ever going to be dethroned.
No, I don't think so. Since 2005, he's eaten 1,152 dogs and buns, 6,825 more than the next nearest guy. That's 142 pounds of hot dogs. Last year, his calorie intake, they think, was 18,270 calories in 10 minutes. That's insane. That's a lot. Incredible. He has 54 other eating records in the world. He ate, let's see here, 182 chicken wings in 30 minutes. He ate, let's see what else is on here. 141 hard-boiled eggs in 8 minutes, 47 grilled cheese sandwiches in 10 minutes, and 121 Twinkies in 6 minutes, and more, on and on and on and on and on. The guy is the king, the greatest athlete of all time.
Yep, greatest eater anybody's ever seen.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And the woman to cheer for, if you're a female watching this, is Miki Sudo. She's won 8 of the last 12. She's her record is 48 and a half dogs. She ate in 2020, and she holds a ton of other eating records. She once ate 16 and a half pints of ice cream in 6 minutes, 21 corn dogs in 8 minutes, 14 pounds of rice in 8 minutes, and 8.5 pounds of kimchi she ate in 6 minutes. Her husband was beat by her last year in some of her eating contests. So he's been put to shame a little bit. She is the queen of eating.
Well, I guess she's the GOAT. She's the GOAT.
She is. I want to say rest in peace to Vince Tobin. He died yesterday at the age of 79. Former head coach of the NFL's Arizona Cardinals from 96 to 2000. He twice replaced Buddy Ryan as a coach. He came in and took over the defensive coordinator position in Chicago when Buddy Ryan was fired. And then he took over in Arizona when Buddy Ryan was escorted out the door. And he's pretty famous for leading the Cardinals to their first playoff win in 51 years in the 98-99 season. And they went into the playoffs and they beat the Cowboys behind the arm of Jake Plummer. Once he left Arizona, he went to Detroit, was the offensive coordinator there. And then he was a special assistant with the Packers before he retired back to Arizona. And great career, Vince Tobin, very highly respected coach. And sorry to see him gone, but nice 79 years he had.
Yeah, he had a good run. He had a very, very good run, and he rest in peace.
Yeah. I think we're coming to an end here. I'm going to let you go. I'm going to finish it off with some news and notes and some NHL. I've been watching the BC Lions Toronto Argonauts game. This is a game of the two left undefeated teams in the CFL. BC coming in 3-0, Toronto also 3-0. Toronto's got a 35-24 lead with a couple minutes left, so it does look like the Argos are going to hand the Lions their first defeat of the season. But anyway, man, that was fun to break down free agency. A lot to talk about, billions of dollars in deals, and a nice UFC. And man, am I ever excited about this UFC. I guess I'm getting together with some guys, and we're going to watch it. Hope you can join us. Don't know what you're up to. Do you have any plans yet?
I think I'm going to have a friend or two come over here. We're just going to watch it.
Awesome. Okay, good. We'll enjoy it. And have a great week ahead. Let me know as soon as you hear the Damian Lillard trade news, and look forward to a good week ahead. I heard we're in for some super hot weather over the next couple of days.
Yeah, no, I heard the same thing too. Hopefully not 40 degrees. You know what I mean? Like I don't need that. Okay. But that's all I'm saying. No 40 degrees, please. Thank you.
Yeah, you melt in that place when it's that hot, don't you?
No, yeah, man. Like it's hot. It's hot.
Okay, man. Appreciate it. Have a great night. Thanks so much. We will talk to you soon.
Yep, we'll talk soon. See ya.
Okay, bye for now. Okay. As I mentioned, BC down. Looks like they're down by 2 touchdowns, down 38-24, minute and a half left. So unfortunately for any Lions fans locally here, first loss. Wimbledon started today. Some of the Canadians that were playing, Felix Auger-Aliassime unfortunately got upset. Man, it was a tough match. I watched it, and he kept getting into tie breaks. He lost 2 of the first 3. They went into tie breaks, lost the last set 6-4. Unfortunately, ousted early by the American Mo, I believe it's pronounced. And then Leila Annie Fernandez got a big victory. That was fantastic. She beat a Ukrainian tennis player today to get the victory in the first round. Denis Shapovalov, his match got postponed. He was down 1 set, tied 2-2, heading into in the second set when darkness postponed it. So we'll keep our eye on that tomorrow. Novak Djokovic trying for his 24th Grand Slam title, has to be the favorite in my mind. We'll see. He's in that same draw as Shapo. So hopefully Shapo can dispatch a few guys and then maybe pull off the big upset. Unfortunately for Felix, he's done. Great over the weekend. The golf was awesome. Ricky Fowler won for the first time in over 4 years. Unfortunately, it was at the expense of Adam Hadwin, who hasn't had a victory in 6 years, but has been, one of the Canada's top golfers for that length of time, and a little bit famous for getting tackled on the green, celebrating Nick Taylor's big win at the Canadian Open. Glad it hasn't given him any lasting injury effects, and he's able to compete hard. One shot away. Imagine 72 holes, and you're like one shot somewhere out there, and I would have had the victory. That's why golf can be a cruel game, but he still cashed a big check, and it's really going to help for the rest of the season. Great to see him perform so well. And Canadians were right up there. A couple in the final group. It was pretty great to watch the Canadians playing there. Also in the seniors, Bernhard Longer won the U.S. Senior Open at 65 years old, almost 66. He was able to outlast the field. 13-year gap between his Senior Open wins. It was his 47th title, passing Hale Irwin for the most ever, and his 12th major, which is by far and away the best. And super impressive. A guy that's into his mid 60s, doing that great. F1 race was super fun to watch on the weekend. Max Verstappen got his 5th straight win, 4th Austrian title, running away with this season's Drivers' Championship, 81-point lead over his teammate Sergio Perez, who finished 3rd in this race. Charles Leclerc was 2nd. Lando Norris, great performance with 4th. Fernando Alonso 5th. George Russell and Lewis Hamilton, the Mercedes teammates, were 7th and 8th respectively. Lance Stroll was 9th. I was really hating all these stupid penalties for crossing this white line that they had. Super dumb. Lots of controversy in the qualifying, all the times getting wiped out, and a lot of the times during the main race. It was ridiculous. They got to fix this track and figure it out. It was dumb, and it should be not this way anymore. Hopefully they go back to this track next year, and that's just a change thing, because it was just really bothersome and frustrating to watch. Next week they're at Silverstone, the British Grand Prix. Should be super fun to watch. That's an amazing track, and always incredible to see. I want to finish off with just some quick news and notes on the NHL free agency. Man, it was unbelievable there. Ryan Graves actually signed the biggest deal as far as dollars, total dollars, $27 million deal for 6 years. $4.5 million is his average annual salary. The biggest average annual salary goes to Dmitry Orlov, 7.75, $7,750,000 for a 2-year deal, 15 million and $15.5 million from going from Boston to Carolina. Other big deals: Ryan O'Reilly got a 4-year deal from Nashville, $18 million full deal, $4.5 million per year. Jonas Corposello signed with Ottawa, came from the LA Kings, got a 5-year, $20 million deal. Pierre Engvall got a 7-year deal from the Islanders, as well as Scott Mayfield, also a 7-year deal, $21 million to Engvall, 24 to Scott Mayfield. Alex Killorn left Tampa as a free agent, went to Anaheim, signed a 4-year, $25 million deal, $6,250,000 cap hit for them. Jake T. Compher got a big 5-year deal from Colorado, now from Detroit. $25.5 million deal for 5 years, $5.1 million. Canucks made some smaller deals. Carson Soucy took a 3-year deal, leaving Seattle, going to the Canucks. It's a $3,250,000 annual salary. Total of $9,750,000 was the big dip into the waters. Ian Cole also signed with the Canucks. Great move from them. And yeah, lots and lots and lots of deals. Holy cow, hard to go over them. If we had a bit more time, I would try to break them down a little bit for you, talk about them. I guess anybody that's Leafs fans that's listening in, Ryan Reeves, big, great move for them. Getting Max Domi under contract, huge move for them. They lost some good talent, and Luke Shen and some guys there. Also Tyler Bertuzzi signing with Toronto, Bradford Living, immediately jumping on and getting some big deals done. And man, so much to talk about, so much to go over. I should get a NHL expert in here to break down the winners and losers in free agency. It was a crazy free agent frenzy this Canada Day long weekend, and heading into Independence Day, July 4th tomorrow. It is awesome to be a professional athlete. There is so much money to be had and to be made, and these guys are all getting set for life. It was unbelievable to see all the deals put together for in the NBA, seeing $1 billion handed out that quickly. Oh, man, it must be nice to be an NBA player and to have an NBA player in your midst, and your friends and your family. They've got a lot of disposable income, and setting themselves up for lifelong legacy money. And my final thing is I want to talk about Conor McGregor. Huge amount of stories coming out of Conor McGregor, usually a lot, but unusually amount coming out lately. A lot of talk about him 0-5 in the Ultimate Fighter contest. All 5 of his fighters that have stepped up so far have lost, and he's getting very frustrated. Kept yelling, "Come on, 3 rounds. We need 3 rounds. Why only 2? This sucks. 2 rounds. I need 1 more round." And his fighters had all lost by decision first 2 rounds, and that's it. That's the way it works in the Ultimate Fighter. You lose 2 rounds, no need for a third. So the other thing is there's a lot of talk about when he punched the mascot. They brought him in to do some promotions. They were going to utilize him and sponsor him. That sponsorship has gone away because of this alleged sexual assault that happened the night that he was there, Game 4 of the NBA final. That's gone. Still hasn't dipped his toe into the USADA waters, so I don't know if this Michael Chandler fight is going to happen or not. Doesn't look promising. Eddie Hearn did make an announcement that he is trying to sign Conor McGregor to a deal with Canelo Alvarez that will make them a lot of money. We're talking about $40 to $50 million each. We'll see if Eddie Hearn is able to pull that together. Canelo has been trying to get Dimitri Bivol for a rematch, as well as David Benavidez. Those fights will be also $40, $50 million for him. Might as well fight Conor McGregor and get the same money instead of Bivol, who beat you, and Benavidez. That is a tough fight. So lots and lots of stories about Conor McGregor. Look online, and you'll be spending the next couple hours checking him out. But anyway, I hope you don't melt out there. Hope I know we're in for a couple of really hot days, but stay in the air conditioning, keep cool, keep out of the direct sunlight too long, and take care of yourself. Enjoy the week ahead. And especially the UFC. Holy cow, that is a must watch UFC. And I can't wait to break it down a week from now with Jason. So thanks for sticking in there. I know it was a super long podcast, but appreciate your support as always. Thank you for all the people that have been subscribing lately, been liking our content, sending comments, loving that you're following Instagram a lot. I love everything. You guys are great. I love my fans. I wouldn't be doing this without you, and appreciate all the support. Love you. Take care and have a phenomenal week ahead. We will talk soon. Bye for now.